Howdy, howdy, everybody. I am live for a quick little test here. I am just practicing. Let's take a look-see here. Oh, that's not right. So, just to go over a couple of things, if you're here, fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. We are just chatting, but I'm also working on tech. So, if you are interested in setting up your own style and your own videos and vlog or whatever it is that you want to try to do, then you can join us for some troubleshooting. So it's kind of what we're doing. Um, will also be somewhat of an unofficial announcement. The reason why I'm changing this up is because I want to introduce a new segment to my channel, but I will also be creating another channel to dedicate specifically to this, and I will get to that in 1 second. If you're here, fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. We are just... So sound is good. Well, maybe it's good. That's going to be another topic. And I have to figure out how that works. So let me go ahead and try that as well, because I want to make this as fluid as possible. So I've got my little earbud. I'm going to put that in my ear and turn it on, but we're going to actually... It's connected to my phone at the moment. We don't want that. We actually want it connected to the computer. Let's see here. Okay, so that's a problem that I've got to figure out how that works. So here's what I want to figure out. If it'll let me do it. Okay, I think I may have figured that out pretty quickly, rather. Okay, so let me talk about what it is that I was just working on. So I have lighting, sound. I mean, this is all things that you're going to be doing if you're going to be performing as well. So these are all things that are so important to the perception that you're projecting to your audience. And so I was working on sound. So I put the earbud in because if I'm doing a podcast, I want to be able to hear without all this feedback and all that. But I wanted to set it up so that the spooky music is still coming out of the computer so you can hear it, but then I'll be able to hear myself in just a second. But I would be able to hear, other things through the earbud. So that's something for later. But that's what I was doing. I wanted to isolate the sound so it's not all in one place. Okay, now I do have the laptop over here, which I'm not a huge fan of. I kind of want to get it over here underneath the camera. I moved the table over because talking about lighting. I have a new light that I'm going to be getting for the overhead, which is going to be a filtered overhead spotlight. So I'll be able to change the settings, similar to my ring light that I have here in front of me. Over here I have my Ozark Trail, which I got to get the plug-in for that, so that I can stay charged while I'm using it, because as you can see, like if I move that, it kind of pixelates my background for my green screen. So having that there just is enough soft muted light. Now I messed it up. See, that's why we don't mess with things. Let's see. So we go to filters, and actually, potentially you might be able to see how this. Let me do a quick walkthrough on green screen if you guys are interested in that. If I'm still even live, because I'm still live. Okay, so let me do a quick walkthrough on how green screen works. So with OBS, I'm just going to create a window capture, and and you can select which window you're capturing. In this case, I want to do, that's mystery music, capture method. Let's see. Matic. I don't know if it'll let me actually capture my OBS. Well, that's not what I wanted to do. Well, see if it lets me. So this is a learning experience for both of us. Because basically, to set up the green screen, you're going to, if you're familiar with OBS, you have your sources that you can do your video capture, and then you go to filters, and it's one of the options. So let me get rid of this because this isn't working. So it's only really letting me do that. So let me go ahead. That's might be why. See if I can get rid of that for a second. It's a window capture, but I think, is there a screen capture? Joy display. Yep, display capture. Here we go. That's the one I wanted. Okay, so now let me give it a second here to catch up. Yeah, because I'm still way back on the light. There. So I should be screen capturing now. And then basically to walk you through the full setup, once I get to that point, we'll do that. I'm having some latency issues today, I can see. So that's a problem. So basically from the OBS you can see all these extra windows, and I'm not sure if there's a way to fix that. Let's see. Yeah. So basically what you want to go from here is you want to add a new image, because I've added an image over top, and then you're going to want to do the video capture device, choose the camera that you're using. So in this case it auto selects webcam, but that's not my green screen, that's my shelf. So you're going to want to go to general image device, which is going to give you, it's not going to work because I'm already using it for a different one. So if you're already using your video for something else, there it is, boom. Okay, if you're already using your camera angle for something dedicated in another screen or somewhere else on your computer, then you will have to deactivate it from that source before you can utilize it. Now we're going to go and make sure your lighting is even. And in my case, it is not even. That's why I've got the filtered light coming. So you can see that it's got a splash over here, it's got a splash over here, and then I've got my splash in the front. But I don't want, you want as much light as possible, but you can see right there that that is too much light on me at the moment, because now I'm really bright. And so I want to tone this down just enough that it kind of blends these two a little bit in the back. It's not going to be perfect because I don't have the right lighting for that. Now you're going to come into effect filter at the bottom, plus sign chroma key, and then you're going to put all of these down, and that's going to be your baseline. Then you're going to slowly increase the similarity until the background starts to pixelate out. And you'll see that I start to disappear too. Now let's take a step back here, because here's green. If you have a different type of background, let's say you want to wear green and you want to get rid of a different color, then this is how you might go about doing that. So I've got the green in the background. Now, with the lighting that I've got going on here, typically you'd still be way down here, but if your backdrop is bright, then it's going to pick up on that green really easily. So since I don't have that, because you can see when I go into here, like if I went to custom color, I could select color and then I could pick probably something like this, which is closer to my backdrop. So when I move this, it starts to get rid of it. Now, as you can see here, what's happening is on the back of the screen here, the sides where the lights are disappearing faster than the back where the light is not right behind my head. So you want to go over as much as you can without like making yourself disappear. And then I back it up just a little bit so that you don't get your edges. Now you come to your smoothness. Slowly move that up until everything is nice and even, and then you can mess around with your lighting if you want to get a flat. I would recommend maybe going about the same spill reduction as the smoothness, as close to that as possible, and that seems to do the best for me. So when I come back to here, now it looks like I am genuinely a part of that image. So now I'm sharing the screen, so that's actually behind me. So this is a great way. You could reduce yourself in size down to here. And now you could easily, since I'm actually doing a display capture, not a window capture, it will whatever on my screen. So now you saw how I did that, which is great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the display capture. And we're going to, now you can see that I'm in front of my fireplace, which you want to have multiple scenes set up, which is going to be oh, why am I not live? What is happening? So it's some wonkiness. I don't know what's going on with the internet, latency and all that, but so now what I would do is I would come down to my plus sign and get that window capture like I was just talking about. Now, if we wanted to talk about like some music, it'd be like, boom, look at the music that I'm playing in the background. Because what I want to have is I want to have some fill noise in the background that's themed to whatever it is that I'm doing. And right now it's Halloween time. I want to get this nice aesthetic, the nice quality. What would also be nice if you really wanted to get into it, what I would do is that's the sound I'm playing in the background. So what if I wanted to do like, which is probably why I've got some latency issues, because I'm playing the music through the computer. And so that means I'm using the internet for that as well. So let me go ahead and close some of these tabs and we'll get rid of all that. And then what I want to do is I want to come over here back to YouTube with another thing. And I want to go with copyright free is where I like to sit. That doesn't mean that you're going to get exactly what you want every time. And I'm not going to monetize this, and I might actually delete it at a later time. Copyright fireplace background noise. So that way the fireplace will actually be making sound now. Now if I can come down here to my volume, now what I'd like to do is I'd like to synchronize sound differently, but I don't know if it'll let me. What I mean by that is I have the fireplace playing in one section and then I have the spooky music playing in another section. I would like both of those sounds to be equally as prevalent and be able to control them separately. And what you would do with that, and I got to get an audio mixer so that I can assign tabs to each of these things so that I can control them without having to go into the computer. I'll be able to do that at my fingertips. So that's really what I'm working on. So let's take a look-see here. So that's not really a crackling fire. It's not what I'm hearing on that. So I really want like a really good crackling fire. Now, what would be ideal, and this is something that we could work on as well, but I'm not really sure how to do it yet, is I could potentially take something like they've got the podcast, like the application audio capture in here, but what I'd want to do is, here's the idea. So if you know and you want to link down below or tell me down below how you would do this. So I don't necessarily need to hear. So how do I want to put it? So let's say I have the OBS setup, right? Now what I'm doing is I'm playing something in the background in order to broadcast it through the podcast. But what if we were to say that, like, in terms of like the simulation window of what I'm trying to create, is there a way to take OBS to grab that sound to push it through the system so that you hear it, but I don't need to play it in my background in order to pick it up. I would be able to hear it through my capture, but not through the background. Like, it, how do I say it? It would be in here in the speaker, but not in my background. Because the point of the speaker is so that I'm hearing what's going on for you guys, but not hearing what's going on here. Like, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm working on. That's the thought process there. So now for a brief moment, what I did was I'm switching the sound from my speaker to my headphone, and I'm hearing it really loud and clear in my headphone, but I'm not really hearing it really loud here. So I don't know what's happening with that. So I'm hearing the music playing, but the fireplace sound is not playing. So I'm not sure why that is. Is it showing up on I wonder if it's on here. Latency issues because I'm playing the music through the computer, and so my live is so far behind. Well. So let me go ahead and close some of these tabs and get rid of all that. And then what I want to do is I want to come over here back to YouTube with another thing, and I want to go with copyright free. Is where So it's all sorts of things that we're learning here about how all of this stuff is working. But that's the audio mixer would be nice. Like, so your computer has a mixer, but it's all digital. And the point of having the audio mixer is that it's physically tabletop, so you can control the nodes and push the buttons and stuff. In order to dedicate to a specific sound, you'd also be able to have your remixes and your voiceovers and things like that. So like the clapping, laughing, your laugh tracks and all that. And you'd be able to customize some of it too. So I want to have that, but I also then want to have something that the Stream Deck, I'm not sure if that's like the brand name or if there's like a other type of specific name to it, which is basically similar to your audio mixer, which is for sound. The Stream Deck is for video and for movement in a different way. So basically it's an add-on to your computer that allows you to switch between camera angles as well as a plethora of other things. So that is something that I want to look into getting as well. So I'm just not hearing. This crackling fire is doing nothing, and I'm wondering it's because if I'm not finding it properly in this mixer here. Let's see. I guess that's the other thing that I kind of want to do is with OBS here. Let's see if there's something that I can do with the sound. Audio input capture is for the physical microphone. What is the audio, the application audio capture? Let's see what that is. Let's see. This is going to do, oh, here we go. So now the real question is, did we just find the nitty-gritty of what it is that I wanted? I can kind of hear the crackling over here. So my hope is that what that did was that it pushed the sound, like I was just talking about, through the OBS. So now you're hearing it on your end, but I don't need to hear it on my end.
In my background. Because the point of the speaker is that I'm hearing what's going on with you guys, but not hearing what's going on.
So now what I've also noticed is that because I'm not doing the window capture, or that I'm not doing the display capture, but I'm doing the window capture, then you're not seeing me in the corner, which is what's going to be required in order to see me, is it's going to be a display capture. Now the problem with the display capture is that if you do have any transitions, then they're going to see you switching between. That's why you want to have that button on your Stream Deck, so you can just click camera 1, camera 2, and then it instantly puts you over to a different transition without seeing the process in between. So let's go ahead and get rid of the... I'm just waiting for it to catch up. And I have the sound on my phone. I'm waiting for it to catch up so that I can hear if the application audio capture worked. So we're going to get rid of the screen capture since we don't really need to see anything there.
So now for a brief moment what I did was I'm switching the sound from my speaker to my headphone, and I'm hearing it really loud and clear.
I've also got my ring light
but I'm not really
frame.
hearing it really loud to hear, so I don't know what's happening.
There's that.
With that. So I'm hearing the music playing.
Let me go ahead and get rid of my background image that I've got going there. I like the fireplace, but that one in particular had a...
showing up on...
definitely shouldn't probably be using that one. Let's try this one. There we go. Still got the fireplace in the background.
Through the computer.
Let's see if I can go to here. That's loading again. We're going to go to transform, click the screen.
And my live is so far behind. So go ahead and close some of these tabs.
Matching up my chair to that, which...
And we're going to roll that. And then what I want to do is I want to go over here. Back to YouTube with another thing, and I want to go with copyright free is where
So now what I'm doing here is I'm kind of messing with the angle. I gotta really be careful with how I move, because I'm trying to block off a certain part of my background, like the chair back there. Not that I like the chair, but I also want it to look like I'm sitting in a nice room.
Has a mixer
type deal like this. Now, the problem with having it with me in the corner is this is definitely like review. Right? That's what we call the review. Now, something that Doug Kahn has been doing recently that I really enjoy is putting yourself up at the top, because that angles you in such a way that
dedicate to a specific sound.
If you've got, say, your video, your 2 here, let's say you're doing something here, and you want to be like, especially if it's which is wonky, but take a look at my hands real quick, and then technically I should have something over here to block all of that stuff. Which I just organized it. It's not as clean as I'd like.
So I want to have that.
Where it's at. So that's kind of the point there. Is you would have yourself up top here, maybe angled in such a way. Hey, look, I'm a floating head, and then you'd have your hands down below, slightly underneath there, like that. And you wouldn't really need the green screen background at this point, but you could theoretically do that, where you transform and now you're kind of like critiquing yourself, especially if you're doing a lot of hands-on down below. Like I said, if you want to show you're doing some magic or something, now you're not really blocking anything. The problem is that that's my webcam, and traditionally what I use my webcam for is straight on. So I potentially can fix that, but I'm using my video camera to do my head-on shot right now, because I wanted to take the dedication away from the laptop so that I could focus on other things besides the laptop, because there's a little bit of a distraction there. But then I gotta get used to staring at the camera instead of looking at myself on the computer. That's the nice thing about having the computer as your dedicated eye, because when I look into the camera on the webcam, then I can still see myself, and I can still kind of critique myself as I go. So that's the thoughts there.
If I'm not finding it properly in this mixer.
So what I also notice is that when I'm going through my mixer for my volume, because I'm doing the window capture, you can't see that because that's outside of Windows, my YouTube, my window capture. So that's a good angle for having that there. But when I'm going to deactivate this one. Oop, that's not the one. That one. I want to get rid of this one.
The application audio capture.
What I kind of want to do is I want to do fit the screen. Fit the screen, right? I guess it is fit the screen. Stretch the screen. There we go. And then I want the fireplace to kind of be in the background, but it's not really letting me do that.
So now the real question is, did we just find the nitty-gritty?
Because I want the fire, the aspect of the fireplace. So really what would work is what I've got here is I've got this beautiful background for like Christmas, and you've got the fireplace in the background. So if I were to like come over here real quick and you see it flash, which you can't really with this angle because of my chair, I want to get like a new chair that's a little bit lower profile and it's see-through so that it can really capture some of that background to give you that aesthetic quality. And if the fireplace were off to my left over here, then the window could be like a bay window could be in the background, so you could still see the depth of the outside. But then the fireplace would be crackling off to my left, and then maybe have some stuff. Maybe have the tree over to the right. That would be perfect, I think, or vice versa. Like have a tree and a fireplace. They could switch, but then having the window in the back, because that also creates a depth of light. Because you can see the window and then you see the trees, and you're like, oh well, how is he like right there? It's snowing right out the window. You see that? You know, it's not realistic imaging, but it gives you a more suspension of disbelief type of vibe, because there's more depth to it. But my chair doesn't really allow for that, so I want a lower profile chair, because this is an older chair and it just feels like I'm like slumped over, and I don't want that. So I like this one a little bit better, so I'm going to keep that one up because I can utilize the whole thing. So now all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to the point in the live where I can see that.
Button on your stream deck, so you can
to hear the fire.
click camera 1, camera 2.
Oh, there it is.
It instantly puts you over to a different transition.
So you can hear the fireplace in the background. So pretty soon I should be switching over to a different. What I'm going to do is, let's see if this helps. Get rid of the music. So now I'm only running YouTube and OBS. And we'll get rid of this one here. Now I'm just kind of like closing up some windows, so I'm not taking so much. So now I just have the fireplace in the background. That's really what I'm focusing on there. And what I like about having the darker background but with a little bit of light is it allows me to focus on basically I don't need the bright light as much because there's a lot of shadows, but then there's also the window that kind of pulls that light and stuff, so it looks brighter than it actually is. So I kind of like that, and you need light for depth. So if your image has light in it, then it can create that depth for you, and it's a cheap way to do it, but it gets the job done. My only issue, like I said, is that for the image that I'm using and the chair that I have, it just kind of looks like I'm sitting in front of an image that's moving. You know, I can kind of see that. You need to have lighting. I need to have lighting that's going to create depth, illusion, so that it separates me a little bit more and gives me a little bit of depth. What would also be nice is if I had some type of like ambient light overhead here on my back, so that the crackling fireplace. So what I would do is, because the window's here, I would have a light, like a solid dim light over here that is reflective of like snow falling, and so you just get this little bit of dimness from the outside. And then over here what I'd have is I'd have a red or orange muted light from the fireplace crackling on the back of my hair, so that you are getting the aesthetic quality of what's happening behind me, and it makes it feel more real. Or I could just get a fireplace. But so that's my thoughts there. But it's weird with the couch. So like, I'm not sure, like if the couch wasn't there, then I wouldn't really have to worry about hiding it as much. Yeah. So my mic is good, audio input capture is good. Everything's pretty solid, I think. I like that. Now, what I could do personally is I can go. Oh, no, I can't do that. Because I can't seem to separate the sound. So I'm not sure why that won't let me do that. I wonder if it'll let me do it if I have a separate tab. So here's what I'm doing now, just so you know. So let's say I wanted to have something playing in my ear that I didn't want you to hear, because maybe it helps me like focus a little bit, just to have a little bit of sound. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if it would distinguish between two chromes if I separated them, and it doesn't look like it does. Well, theoretically it should, yeah. Let's try this. So I put the Google Chrome. No, see, that didn't work. Because now I just hear the fireplace. If I mute this, does it still get rid of it from OBS? Yes. So you need to have whatever your application capture needs to be playing in the background, which is fine. And then if I switch Google back to my earpiece, then I do hear the crackling fire loud and clear. I don't want that though. So what I want to try to do is I want to try to figure out how. There is a button in here, I remember looking at it before, for audio, on how to, I think it's in the audio section of the settings, which basically is for podcasts, so it does the loop sound, so it loops it back into your headpiece. So that's kind of the point is you have yourself So that's the other thing to keep in mind there is where the sound is going. Now the other option, because if I did want to still have like the crackling fire for you guys for the aesthetic of the background, but let's say I still wanted to have a little bit of background noise, then what I might have to do, if it would let me, is I'd have to go to Microsoft Edge, which is a completely different application, to bring up YouTube. And then maybe my mixer counts it as something separate, if that makes sense. So let's see here. This one's seems perfect. I don't know if it's copyright or not. Again, I can get rid of these videos. It's not that big of a deal. So now I've got a little bit of this coffee shop jazz playing in my headpiece that is not being captured by OBS. So it kind of gets me used to this idea of hearing noise when I'm talking so that I can separate my hearing from my audio. Because sometimes when you're doing a podcast or interview, you're going to have multiple people talking, and so you want to be able to differentiate. I tried it before and it was really tough for me to do that, so I might have to do something a little bit different. But that works out pretty good. So I think this is going to be a pretty solid. So what you would want to do, and what I'll create another display, and this will be my final note on this brief walk tech test, basically on the knowledge that I have that I'd like to share with you. Is we're going to do the window capture again so that you can see what I got going on here. Nope, that's a window capture. Oopsie doopsie. Move that from there.
So what I also noticed,
we'll actually come down to here. So I have this one set up, and this is going to be like my talk show host. So this is the face-to-face. Like I said, remember it's being used here. Here's what you're going to want to do. You go to the general image, and then you want to select deactivate when not showing. So that way when you switch When you're jumping to a new image, boom, I jump to this scene. It might take a second, but you're going to want to make sure that your image is going to populate properly. Now it's also nice because the fireplace starts playing here, but I'm not using the fireplace in the other one, so you could have a different sound playing. I think I had it deactivated, didn't I? Yeah. So now you can see where I'm jumping from one to the other, and I'm showing up. I should be showing up. I didn't need this one. So we're going to delete this. Remove from this one.